allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a moment of silent prayer. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, it is November 19th. We are at the town municipal center. Can I have the roll call, please?
Scott Markey,
Here.
Susan Webster is here, Elizabeth Skinner. Here. Mary Lynn Hickey. Here. Rebecca McLeod. Here. Greg Sheen.
Here.
And David O'Connell.
Okay, can we have the review of the minutes from November 5th meeting? I'll take any additions or corrections and a common consent. They look good to me. Everything good for everybody? Common consent? Okay. We don't have any persons before council. I did yesterday, communications from mayor. I did attend, I think for the health department, yesterday down in Martinsburg. As everybody knows, the Morgan County, Berkeley County health departments are combined. They wanted to give kind of a report of how things has been going on and things that they've been doing. And they are looking for more money to bring some other services to Morgan County and to Berkeley County, but to Morgan County also. So it was a pretty good get together, and I learned a lot of things that have been going on. So anyway, so let's move on. Bath Development, nobody's here. Parks and Recs, nobody's here. Planning Commission.
Dun, 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 dun. So we had a great meeting last week with Jason Hoover from Morgan County Emergency Services. Unfortunately, we had to change it a couple of days out. So I know we missed you, Rebecca. We had to have the meeting on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Covered a lot of stuff from the 2017 comprehensive plan that related to emergency services and how the town works with the county on it. So that was our starting point. And then we starting to look ahead. One point for us, they have a quarterly emergency management meeting, and that's we're attending in January, and we'll start attending that meeting to understand what is big in the county level. And not surprisingly, their biggest issue is flooding. So that aligns directly with a lot of the stuff that concerns the town. So a good relationship building there. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, the 11th of December at 5 o'clock. And as I said last time, we're going to be discussing vacant buildings. So Mr. Mayor and Councilman Sheen would like you guys to attend that one, please. Any questions or comments?
What are you going to be discussing about vacant buildings?
Everything. So we always start with what's in the last comprehensive plan, and we review our status of those. And then we try to start leaning into what should we be looking at from 2027 to 2037 that the town needs to put on our to-do list for that time period.
Thank you.
Larry, we may have to change that meeting.
Okay.
Wednesday night I teach.
Okay.
So I start at 5 o'clock. So,
Perfect.
so I don't know if you can switch that maybe Thursday or Tuesday.
We can. I mean, I'd be happy to do it here. Thursday gets a little thin. Can you go earlier in the day?
I can go earlier in the day, yes.
Greg, would that work for you? Instead of 5, we can go like at 3?
Yeah.
Or is that early enough?
That'll be fine. As long as I'm out of there, I can go at 5 or so, so I can get up to
And then Dave, how about you? Do you have anything earlier in that afternoon?
This is, you're saying the 12th
Oh,
11 at 3 o'clock.
on Wednesday?
Yeah.
yes,
3 o'clock.
Wednesday.
3 o'clock.
The only
If I leave at 5, I should be good.
if you're fine,
I'm fine. 3 to
3 to 4:30-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 to 5 is.
Yeah, 3 to 5, something like that. As long as I'm out of here, I just got to go to the bit. So.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
thanks.
adjust to 3 o'clock, please.
All right. Sharon, can you kind of make a note of me for that?
Yes. You're waking up.
Yeah. All right, rails and trails.
No, we're not gonna have a meeting the day afternoon before Thanksgiving, because absolutely no new information. Pulse them again, whatever I get, you'll all get. so far you're getting the same thing, nothing. I have no idea.
We've had nothing for a little while.
I know they're gonna be busy with certain other things relative to government. So they're gonna go,
Transitions.
yeah, that's right. Streetscape, we are gonna meet on Thursday. The agenda's up there. Basically, it's jumping into figuring out can we do phase 5 lighting that the grant they did give us without DOH. And we have a set of drawings with Beck and I kind of met with Jeff Cole about how to do this. And a lot of this is, it will always get cheaper. Than a third.
What's the number, Pete?
The number?
The number for the lights.
With it as a grant, we put in for 125 total.
Okay.
That's 80% with the 20% share,
Mhm.
and that includes the 13% that the DOH takes, right?
So we could deduct 13%?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do that.
And we can do, we purchase our own poles and everything, it's so much.
Could we,
I mean, this,
throw in the depot, the 2 lights that?
Oh, probably.
Depends on how much.
Yes.
I think
We have
there's
to
an
figure out.
organization down there now that might help.
this,
Yeah.
this opens up an opportunity to do it different. You know, to make a deal with a light manufacturer, yes, to do the installation. There's lots of things you can do this year that would never let you do. That's what Jeff Bo was talking about. We've got
And we can phase it.
Jeff Naval going now. Clearly have to run this. The whole idea is a little bit, let's see what we come up with if we don't go through.
Which would be innovative.
But and save money,
Yeah,
like
that's the whole,
significant
yeah,
amount.
that is the whole point, and get control.
Yeah.
So, and it was, and, I mean, for example, the latest, but it involves, concrete foundations for the lights. You can't really put them in until you put the lights, you can have because of the bolts.
Yeah.
But they can be installed with a local. I mean, we have drawings of the foundation. Conduit and junction boxes can be installed. I believe they all come with pull wires in them, so we can actually make things. So it's just coming up with the best idea we can come up with. We may get lights that look the same but aren't the same. Not as wildly expensive.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that potentially we can do if we're not doing it to the DOE bids.
Yeah. Well, I would just suggest that, if we think having another couple lights, wouldn't hurt and make helps volume wise, you get a better deal to talk to Trump Murphy Springs
We're
too.
talking to a lot.
Yeah,
And
there'd
talk
there'd be a
to-
lot
yeah.
of talking.
Yeah, well, and Jeff is on that board too,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, we've already sort of been at the beginning champ since we lost the grant opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, we're cut free from
Yeah, one door closes.
So, yeah,
A
that's
cheaper door.
That's, yeah, I think so. That's what we're gonna try to do. Also on Thursday, we're gonna work off the scope of the design for phase 6. We've asked GOH to produce the funding agreement. We've got a full draft of the task order for the Thrasher. She's actually ready for signature, but we didn't do that because, you should see the money. Or at least see the possibility. So that's okay, but we're done with Thrasher. That's it. Questions?
On the lighting, so Susan was talking about the 2 more for the train depot. Do we know how many additional lights we'll be putting on that depot lot? Is it too early for that?
Too
Too early.
early, and you probably wouldn't.
Those are the fancier ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
more functional.
they're
Two
They're
faces.
downlighting, and they're downlighting, they're on short poles.
Okay.
And now, I wouldn't suggest you use the kind of lights they just put in on the interchange.
Yeah.
on Route 9.
Oh,
I'm sure the neighbors love it.
oh, no.
None of this dark skies. Okay,
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, train depot.
The depot is occupied at this point, which is lovely. Trump Workers Springs is in. They've got their setup, ready to do business. I've been down a couple times to talk to them about just little things, just to help them transition over and like that. Nothing major. They're doing a few little repairs. If it gets into anything, not repairs, but you know, they have to do a little work on that back door, you know, with it
Yeah,
open, you know, and stuff like that. So they're just doing that. If it gets into anything else that they want to do, that entails any kind of change to the building, there'll be no structural change, then I'm gonna point towards, Jim Bailey, and Jim said he would help with anything that they need. With us from the beginning, of the depot, committee. So it's moving nicely. It's
so they
busy
were
with
down there, Matt, putting up the, internet down there today. So,
internet, putting up their signage and everything, so it'd be nice.
all
Post
right.
construction for the stormwater management facility. We're having a post construction inspection on November the 27th at 10:30. And the public is welcome.
All right. Is that it for the train depot?
Yeah.
Okay. Move on, landmarks commission. See anybody? After that. Clerk and recorders report, Madam.
No,
Don't have anything?
Where?
Okay, no. All right. We do have a thing here for temporary parking down there for property use, so.
Yeah, we did, and we decided to not, do it.
All right. I was gonna suggest not to because we got
The parade.
the parade's gonna be marked.
Several other uses.
Yeah,
Right,
The first 2 weeks are super busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, so we got that handled, Let's move on to finance then.
And we do have a few bills, not many bills, but, I make a motion that we pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $16,920.
Second.
Got a motion second on the floor to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $16,920. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
I make a motion that we pay the Berkeley Springs water bills in the amount of $42,545.77.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs water bills in the amount of $42,945.77. Any discussion? All those in favor?
I
Opposed? That motion carries.
make a motion that we pay the Wayne cemetery bills in the amount of $585.
Second.
A motion second on the floor to pay the Greenway Cemetery bills in the amount of $585. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries.
And I make a motion we pay the tree board bills in the amount of $210.
I have a motion second on the floor to pay the tree board bills in the amount of $210. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. All right, anything else for finance? Okay, let's move on to tree board debt.
The 6 trees that are part of the demonstration city grant 2025 have been delivered. And Michael Merchant has provided an estimate for removing 2 trees in Greenway Cemetery. This is not part of a grant. There's a tree of heaven that is wreaking havoc with a Yost tombstone, and he will both take that down and treat it. You know, the old story is you try to kill a tree of heaven and 1,000 relatives come to the funeral. So you have to treat it, and the treating can be hit or miss, but we've had pretty good luck. There's also a dead bull pine. It's about halfway up the center path, and that will be removed. There's another bull pine next to it that's healthy enough, but has some dead branches. So those will be trimmed. And of course, he will dispose of the wood.
What was the estimate?
$700.
The finance committee agreed to pay the $700 out of hotel motel surplus funds.
Okay, cemetery, tree
The
board,
cemetery
just
part.
general.
For the cemetery portion.
The cemetery will be paying $700.
Oh, total. Okay, so
It's coming.
Okay, so it's not gonna be a shared
No,
expense.
we're gonna pay the $700
Okay.
at hotel motel.
Great. The next, meeting is tomorrow, November 20th at 5 o'clock here at town.
Do you know when the trees are gonna get planted?
Well, I should have a Serbian Pro here with me. I anticipated, based on the caliper of the trees, you were right, that they would be in, contain a pot that we could pick up and move and so on. And instead, it's small ball and burlap. Each tree weighs about 200 pounds. And so they are, at this point, heeled in at the depot, which means that we can wait, but we will need to have at least 4 holes dug, so we have to coordinate with Public Works. I think it's Public Works, yes. 2 of them we can probably do. Craig Dean, who we went together to pick them up, said they're extremely good-looking, healthy trees, but it just wasn't what I had expected based upon trees of the same size that I got from Cape Institute. So they will make an immediate difference. You'll notice that, because people have noted that Independence Street was kind of bare now. These you'll really know there are trees there. So I learned a lesson.
So are they bigger or smaller than you thought they were gonna be?
They are about the same height as I expected them to be. The trunk is about the same caliper as I expected them to be, but the root balls are
Substantial.
substantial, yes. They're not as big as some of the root balls we have had, but they're still
Well, and burlap is.
right. And Craig estimated they weigh about 200 pounds each. And so we were thinking that, well, we'll have to have somebody with a forklift lift them up onto the pickup bed, and then, so it's gonna be a bigger deal than we thought. But they will be very nice trees.
All right. Thank you. All right, moving on down to grants.
Thank you, Scott. So a few things, regarding the COPS grant that we were recently awarded for $111,321 that will cover the cost of a police officer position, salary and benefits for a period of 3 years. And we have 5 years to spend the money. This week, Sharon, our town clerk, formally approved the grant, and we now need the town council to follow up to formally approve the grant as well. So I'd like to make a motion that we formally approve the recently awarded COPS grant in the amount of $111,321. And that it has a term of 5 years from the date that we get started and hire someone. So we do need to do that. Give me a second.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second on the floor to approve the COPS grant that we received. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you. Okay, Sharon, is there something that Scott needs to sign? I don't think so. You
No.
formally approved it in
Oh,
this portal,
Yeah,
so we're
okay.
good there.
All right.
I think that's more procedurally what we do for every federal grant. Okay, and then on November 25th is the deadline for submissions for anyone who is interested in putting in an RFQ for our new upgraded website for the town of Bath. We've had a few interested parties inquire so far, and hopefully we'll get a couple more. In fact, we've already received the 50% funding from the Appalachian Forest Grant. That disbursement's already been made and deposited into, did you have to set up a separate account?
No, it's in the general.
And we will be matching that with 50%. And then just quickly on the SHPO grant, just wanted to note, I think I did at the last meeting, but the DAR ladies who take care of the Old English Cemetery now are working with a budget of $8,000 in SHPO funds that the SHPO agreed to reallocate to them because the German cemetery work had already been completed with a funding portfolio of several sources, and they had to finish it. So, so that's in process. Rebecca, do you have updates for your things? And then our next meeting is on December 9th at 4:30.
All right. Yep, as long as it's rolling in, it's good.
Love that sound.
Yeah.
To get money going.
All
All
right.
day long.
We're gonna go to public safety. We had a meeting last Wednesday, and, we've got some things in the pipeline coming down. So is there anything else
Yeah,
that
we have removed the interim tag from the chief. He's now the full-time chief, which was very important. Also like to thank, my colleague Mary Hickey for her work on COPS grant. It's very significant, and a great benefit to our law enforcement department, but also to our finances as well, which will allow us to free up revenue for other equally meaningful projects for the town. We also met with the chief in regard to town of Bath parking permits, just to create the pricing for that. It's something we'll be discussing kind of over the speed which that comes here.
all right?
Slip that in.
Lisa, I don't slip anything in.
First reading, second reading, comments.
Yeah,
Social media posting.
okay, all
This
right.
is for businesses.
What's that?
It's for businesses.
Yeah.
What he's talking about. It's for businesses.
Businesses. All right, we'll move on down to cemetery then.
Cemetery committee met today, we had a very productive meeting. And we decided at the meeting today that we are going to meet again on December 10th from 10 to 12. And we are going to publicize the meeting and invite the public to join us. We want to look at the priorities that we need to set as the cemetery committee and align those with the needs of the community who have loved ones in Greenway. And we also want to look at a very important issue, record keeping, because that's something that has not always been done well. And it's very important to not only the history of our community, but to be able to locate graves for funerals and so forth. And the third area, we're going to look at revenues and expenses for the cemetery. And we'd like anyone in the council that's interested to join us. We're meeting for the 2 hours, as I said, and we invite anyone in the community to join us. But we also intend to invite the Historical Genealogical Society, because some of what we need to do is align the work that they do, especially related to record keeping in the cemetery. So that's all that I have.
What was the time on that again, Beth?
10 to 12 on December 10th. And that will replace our normal fourth Tuesday of the meeting, Tuesday of the month.
So you're not meeting November the 26th.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Beth.
Mhm.
Let's move on to public works.
The guys, the staff were working in the cemetery to fix up some of the graves that have been there for over a year. Lots of the big things up and they've added also seeded down. That work's been completed. And last week we did a street inspection with the Public Service District sewer representative. We walked on the streets to look at the conditions of them, and we photographed them, did some cursory measurements, and we want to prioritize the work. And it was helpful having the sewer board there, because there are some situations where they've got pipes and they're old. The ones in town are old, and we're assuming that maybe some of them have collapsed and their pipes. We had asked DOH to take a look at it, and they did. They were there. we'll be getting a database together and then we'll finalize that. That'll allow us to develop a budget for, prioritizing which streets we need to do. We've got some pretty serious conditions on Warren. Green is in need of work, particularly on the shoulder. We're gonna hold off on Visor because the sewer department has just let a contract there to replace all the line because of the infiltration problems that they have there. So once that line is replaced, they will be doing the paving. So we won't have to do that. But it'll probably be next year before that gets done. And you still need to send me that database.
Yes, it's next on my list.
And Rebecca, do you want to mention the mausoleum?
We're going to look for someone to do the work, the final landscaping on top. We need to correct the drainage. It's not draining properly. And so we're going to get somebody who can scrape off the top and get it in better condition and put some topsoil back so we can plant some.
That's all right, Jim. All right, ordinance.
Quite a few things going on, including the stuff we were trying to hide from Lisa. You're too sleuthy, Lisa. I mean, the town does recognize the fact that we need to better manage and regulate parking in town, no doubt about it. We're also seeing a large increase, by folks of creating their own signs to reserve their parking for their businesses, which is unacceptable and will be addressed. And in all fairness, needs to be addressed. The idea of permitting would allow someone that they have a business and they have employees, they would have the opportunity to buy a year permit that would allow them to park, at meters in the town for a set fee. So they're not worried about running to and from their office or place of business all day long to put quarters in meters. So that's one thing we're addressing, as well as establishing a process for creating reserved parking for businesses. So we're tackling that issue, addressing that at the next ordinance meeting. So we have two separate ordinances that we're working on in regard to that. Both have a lot of moving parts and kind of doing a deep dive on our parking needs. In addition to that, we're revisiting ordinances as it impacts gambling establishments. We've had some requests as it relates to gambling in the town boundary of Bath that needs to be addressed. So we're dealing with that as well within the parameters of the law that's provided by the state. A lot of the commission which regulates that. Now, again, those are the things we'll be addressing Thursday at 4 p.m. And of course, everybody's welcome to attend that meeting.
Thank you, Greg. All right, Waterworks.
So I have two things I want to give updates on. We have 3 projects that are our big issues. One is the water treatment plant upgrades. The second one is the US Silica line. And the third is, actually it's been the first, and that's the South 522 extension. I don't have an update on the South 522 extension because we're kind of in transition going from getting easements to the step. So let me give an update on the water treatment plant. As of the last meeting, we approved putting out to try to get a preliminary engineering report. So we're going to work on the details of that tomorrow's meeting. The engineering report is key to be able to get any grants, and quite frankly, would have been really helpful at getting our rate increase approved. So lesson learned on that one for future efforts. So getting the engineering report, we have a guesstimate on how much that's going to cost. The county has stepped up and has offered to pay $35,000 towards a engineering report, which will go a long way to complete that report. So that'll be very helpful. Our hope is, and this is going to bring Mary Lynn in, is to get grants either through Region 9 or grants or ARPA or whoever. We'll leave that up to Maryland. Our hope is to get that finding of the engineering report completed by, let's say, mid-January or so. The US Silica line. Now, of course, that's the one that is problematic from the point of view of, are we taking on more risk than we should in that respect? On going in with this with eyes wide open. We walked the line after our last town council meeting that Friday. We did actually did a very good job. Our witchy woman over here, Rebecca, is able to get her little goof flicky out there and
Divining
And
rod
which
is
the
the word
line.
you're looking for.
yes. What's that?
It's called a divining rod, Dave,
Yeah, some people.
and it's legit.
Yeah.
It does work.
Rebecca is either the
Absolutely.
witchy woman or the woman that divides, one or the other. But we actually were able to map the line. It did match what the speculation was. There are issues that I have that we're gonna talk about in depth tomorrow. One, I have a concern that we currently have a leak on the line. We had a very wet spot, and I have discussed it with the people at Silica, the maintenance guys, and they took it very seriously. One, they already thought they had a leak at that point. We tested it for chlorine, and we got traces of chlorine, so there's a pretty good chance there is actually a leak in that spot. So getting that repaired will be one issue. We also talked about doing a pressure test in its current state. We were able to find at least in discussion, actually where their shutoff line is, because that's been kind of an unknown. And they were able to confirm that the work that they had done earlier, that they were shutting off the entire system. If that's the case, we should be able to do a pressure test before we even dig any test hole, which saves everybody a lot of money. What's kind of expected is if we do have a leak at that one spot, it may actually cause that leak to blow out. So US Silica is aware of that possibility. But if it does, it'll quite frankly make fixing the leak easier to discover, and the repair will happen quicker. They certainly are not balking at the idea of having to fix that leak. That's just a minor issue, but I'll say minor in the sense that it's an obvious need. Some of the other things can be more testy about where do we put in shutoff valves. Now that I've walked the line, I'm very concerned that we need to actually have shutoff points in the woods. So I'm going to be lobbying for that. One of those areas that I'm concerned about is the type of ground. So actually, Rebecca had give us some reports that allow us to understand the type of ground. And the type of ground is having where the leak existed in 2019, the current potential leak, all is in the same kind of ground area. So what's that? Soil. A similar kind of soil. And I won't go into details of what that is, but basically loose rock is what my feeling of the best way to describe it. You know, it's not real slopey, but I think it can move. And that's one of my concerns is that's what's creating some of this pressure and causing that line to break. But if that is the case, that's one of those long-term problems. So even if you get a leak fixed, we need to be aware of the fact that we may have a problematic section of in the way it currently exists. Understanding that we have a problematic section doesn't mean that we will walk away from it. It means that we need to count for maybe an earlier replacement or a better replacement. All of those things are costly. Just to put it in perspective, our guesstimate was roughly $1 million to put in a brand new line. Of course, nobody has the money for that. You don't want to back into buying an old car and finding out that you have to replace the engine, the transmission, and everything else. So that's the kind of things that we're in the process of deliberating. So I think that's my update.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is the 2019 lake completely remediated?
Yes, it was.
It was. Okay, and second, when the professional engineering report is being conducted, I assume that their scope of work will include looking at silica. You're gonna have a look at our
That's,
everything.
that's actually a separate project. We could include it, but it might be overextending. the-
Right.
Silica will be responsible for proving that line. And there's a section that has to be replaced because of the highway. So we're hoping that where the highway goes over is the area is prone to leakage.
Because then someone else would be responsible for paying for it.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually gonna happen. When I'm
Right.
looking at the map, it's a different area.
Well,
So
all
different
that's to be
soil.
determined. I just think while the hood's up and if we've got enough money for this report, it might be worth the time and trouble to get them to cost out what they see up there and what kind of numbers we're looking at, because that goes into a future grant. If
I'm
in
gonna,
fact it's.
I'm gonna take that very seriously because it's worth having. It's just, from my point of view, it's like trying to get two engineering reports on one.
Mm.
But if we can get it done in one effort, fine.
Right. Well, that's for you guys when you're negotiating the scope of work,
Okay,
to just see if that might be an add-on,
Okay.
and if you did add it on, how much extra?
we'll take that under advisement in tomorrow's meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, any more questions, Dave? If not, we have come to the end of our agenda for this evening. If there's nothing else that the council needs to bring forward, I will open up the floor to anybody that wants to speak to the council. You have 3 minutes. So is there anyone out there that wants to speak? All right, if nobody wants to speak, I will take a common consent adjournment then. So, we're adjourned.